Welcome to this live stream event, Marketplaces, the growth model of the future, live out of the Naturalis Museum in Leiden, the Netherlands. We all talk English here because we have many international viewers to the session, and welcome you all. My name is Bas Urlings. I'm called the entrepreneur on flip-flops here in the Netherlands because I traveled the world for 2 years while my e-commerce business was running. And that's not all. I also won the Cross-Border Awards in 2018 as fastest growing e-commerce company in the Netherlands. We are going to tell you everything about marketplaces, the do's and don'ts, how to be successful on a marketplace or how to become a marketplace. We have 2 sessions today. There will be a chat, so you can ask questions in the chat for the online viewers, and there is a Q&A after the event as well. So the second session actually is at 11 o'clock. Niels Floors will be joining from ChannelEngine, Ronald Metzelaar from Active Ants, Bert van Zon from Mud Jeans International. But we will start this first session, what's called Marketplaces from Starters to International Ambitions, with Michiel Besteboer, CEO and co-founder from Next Chapter eCommerce. Welcome. We have Maurice van Frank here. He's head of e-commerce and digital from ANW. Garant, the Netherlands. Great name, Michiel, Maurice, thank you. And we have Flip Roose, head of sales and value-added services from Buckaroo.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Well, let's start with Michiel. Tell us a bit more about the Next Chapter e-commerce and about your background.
Next Chapter e-commerce is marketplace software. So we help retail companies and wholesale companies to become a niche marketplace. My background is in e-commerce. I've worked in e-commerce for about 25 years now. So I've seen many cases, many companies, and yeah, I'm still thrilled about what's happening in e-commerce. So it never stops.
Nice. Yeah, you see a big trend going on that a lot of players are becoming a marketplace these days because marketplaces are booming. We see big marketplaces like Amazon, Bol.com, Zalando. They're going literally through the roof. Revenue-wise, also through COVID, but which players you see are successful with the marketplace?
Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe I brought a picture of that. Maybe we can use it.
We have some slides as well. You mean?
The slide. I mean,
put it up.
Maybe it can be used. Well, let's explain it this way. We have a slide of a consumer, and he's looking for new Nike Air Max shoes. And he can buy it, by the way, at ANWR. Nowadays, that consumer has really many channels to choose from. So Nike is selling it directly. Wholesale companies are selling it directly. Retail companies are selling it through their physical stores. And there's the slide. And they are also selling it via their web shops. Then we have pure players, many pure players also having web shops. And on the right side of the picture, we have the general marketplaces, and in the near future in the Netherlands also the social marketplaces. And especially those general marketplaces are growing increasingly. I heard last week that their market share in e-commerce is already, let's say, between 50% and 75%. It depends, of course, on the vertical
total e-commerce market
of the total e-commerce market. So it's really huge.
Yep.
So which parties are successful? Well, at least the general marketplaces, and we expect also the social marketplaces. So which also means that the wholesale companies and retail companies are really, let's say, in danger or at least under pressure. They're losing market share. Mm-hmm. And they have to do something.
Right. Yeah, so you mean being a traditional web shop is getting harder and harder, so it's better to become a marketplace? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because the marketplace model is based on a flying wheel effect. It was invented by Amazon.
Yep.
I think you know that as well.
I mean, Amazon is crazy. They do about a little less than 500 billion a year on revenue-wise. So they're the biggest player in the world, and Bol.com is the biggest player in the Netherlands. But yeah, I mean, you have many other marketplaces.
Yeah, so the general marketplaces are growing and growing. They become more and more attractive to brands, producers to sell their articles through the general marketplaces. So retail companies have to act. And what we do as Next chapter is we help them to become a niche marketplace themselves. So what we say is we help retail companies to become a rock star in their niche.
Right. So you have actually the software to become a marketplace.
Exactly.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And so let's say you have a very big web shop doing a lot of revenue. What can you do as a wholesaler or retailer to become this marketplace?
Yeah, maybe Maurice, we can do this question together, because Maurice is representing 600 retailers, thinking about the niche marketplace model.
Yes, we service retailer companies in the Netherlands, and with our European group, about 20,000 retailers. And the difference between a web shop and a marketplace is you can distinguish this in volume and assortment. When you are completely connected to a bigger platform like Bol and Amazon, you're completely dependent of them. You don't have any customer data. So if you start your own niche, you have a distinguished element for the end consumer. And the big platforms, the big marketplaces are closed systems. People don't Google anymore to an article.
True that. Half of the product searches in the States are on Amazon.
Yeah, they go Amazon.
Yeah.
So they they won't come to your web shop.
Yep.
So just a single web shop doesn't work. Like the physical store, you have to be in a city center, not somewhere in a province where no one comes. And then the same is for a marketplace. You have to combine together. So you have to be a big chain and search for other vendors. That can be the brands direct, can be other retailers, or retailers combined into a marketplace. I think that's very important.
Yeah, yes, and I think that retailers will have, the focus on their segment. Big marketplaces like Amazon are, they're very smart concepts with a lot of algorithms, etc. But there's no real focus. They are not specialized in something. And I think retail companies and also wholesalers can be specialized in something. So when they build a company, they have the full focus on their segment. They have the expertise, they have the knowledge, they have the best products. So they can, by attracting multiple vendors, they can extend their range of products. They have the physical store network, which is really important for service, experience, maybe, getting in touch with the customer. So I think that's mainly the difference between a retailer becoming a niche marketplace, competing against the general marketplaces.
Exactly. So that's super hard if you want to compete with Bol or Amazon. So that's the reason why I say you start a niche marketplace, because then you have added value. Yeah,
that's also important. So we don't say to a retail company like you should start a new bol.com. You never win that. No, you should choose for a niche. And be the rock star in your niche. And we help companies to do that.
Yeah, you see also the marketplace competing with each other. I mean, Amazon is already for a few years live in the Netherlands. How do you see this competition going on?
Yeah, that's a difficult question. I think in the Netherlands, bol.com is really winning. Coolblue is also still doing it very well. And Amazon has, not like a problem, but it's difficult for Amazon to get market share in the Netherlands, or to increase it. Because Amazon is kind of a different concept. In the Netherlands, we're used to real rich experience e-commerce. Very, very good web shops, very nice experience, good content, etc. And Amazon is really different. So I'm not sure yet if Amazon will be a big player in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And Michiel, you say you have to be a rock star in your niche to become a marketplace. Do you have to be the rock star first and move to marketplace online, or can you become the rock star of the niche by starting a marketplace? What's your opinion?
Yeah, my opinion is, if you are already a rock star right now, then you have, let's say, a good starting point, of course. But it's not necessary to be it already. I think when you become a niche marketplace, you can become the rock star, because it's a growth model. It's exactly the theme of this webinar. It's a growth model of the future.
And so we're talking about transitions. If you already have the traffic on a web shop and then become a marketplace, but do you also see that people start a marketplace from scratch and then are successful?
No. That's no. I think becoming a marketplace is real complex stuff. And Maurice and myself, we talk every week about it. It's not only about building a web shop or building a niche marketplace. It's not like an IT project. Becoming a marketplace is real complex. So you need a good organization, you need people, skills, knowledge, you need a vision, strategy, obviously also good marketplace software.
Yep.
You need really good systems and processes behind. We always say if you don't have good processes and systems behind, don't start. First fix that.
Yep.
It's also a different approach when it's not a turnkey project. It's like a continuous process.
Definitely.
And you need to constantly develop to meet the market standards. And the market standards are defined by bol.com and Amazon and Zalando, etc.
Exactly.
And the consumers are, well, let's say, spoiled by the service they deliver.
Yep.
So when you start a marketplace, you cannot start at a beginner's level. You enter in a high competitive arena.
It's a high stakes game.
Yeah, so you need suppliers like Buckaroo or Next Chapter and other parties to give you the tools to start in that. Well, to evolve from a web shop to a marketplace.
Exactly.
But the whole organization behind it, I think that's the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to think very big,
Yep.
but you have to start small and build up in phases to come to such a level.
So the infrastructure actually of the biggest player is unbeatable right now, right? So that's the reason why you say you need to have a certain kind of...
Well, don't try to imitate them. It's not, I mean, a simple metaphor. I mean, it's no use to have 200 kinds of different peanut butter.
No.
But only 2 is not enough.
Yeah.
The consumer wants you to make the choice, to make a selection.
Yep.
Good quality, sustainability and other elements. So 5 or 10 or whatever. It needs to be in stock. You made the choice for a selection for the consumer. The same as you do in a physical store, you do that in a web shop.
Yep.
But just show hundreds and thousands kinds of peanut butter doesn't help the consumer. The consumer has less and less time. Mm-hmm. And time is more valuable than money in the society we live in right now.
That.
So there is a space for a niche specialty marketplace.
Yep.
But you cannot do that alone. That's why you need other retailers, other parties, other vendors to join and make sure that you have a service for the consumer. You have to have a reason. You have to be relevant for the end consumer. That's the only thing you have to look for. That's your goal.
Yeah, that's the added value.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that big retail companies, they already have a web shop and systems, so they can start becoming a niche marketplace themselves, maybe on their own initiative. But there are also many small retailers. They cannot do it on their own. So we think that they should cooperate and they should make platforms together.
Yeah.
And Maurice is also representing TopShoe, which is a perfect example of that.
Yep.
You know, it's about 100 local retailers working together in one e-commerce platform, and they're moving towards becoming a niche marketplace in shoes.
Yep.
Yeah, we will combine the brands directly together. So as a retailer, it's very important to have a long-term relationship with your supplier. On the bigger platforms, your competitors, but at the same time, they're your suppliers. So after the bigger platforms now, for a few years, the brands have experience with that. And you see that some brands are withdrawing from those bigger platforms because the prices are raised to the bottom. They cannot show their whole new assortment.
Exactly.
Or they have inferior quality products that look alike from their brands. So they are in a safe haven with the retailers. And that is an extra advantage for the specialty marketplace.
Exactly. Yeah, got it. Well, Next Chapter e-commerce is about software to become a marketplace. There is also you have big players in this space called Miracle. What is the biggest difference between Miracle and Next Chapter?
Yeah, the biggest difference is that Miracle is focusing on the high segment of the market. And I think we are more focusing on the mid-plus segment of the market, so the medium enterprises. That's the main difference, and I think they are like a bigger company. We're a bit smaller yet, still, but we are doing the same. I think we share the same vision, and we work towards the same, let's say, development of e-commerce.
Right.
Another thing I want to add to Maurice is that retailers, for example, retail companies should do this, I think, because their market share is decreasing right now. They're losing the customer to the general marketplaces, which make them less attractive to brands and producers to be used as a reseller channel. So their relevance is decreasing.
Yep.
So they have to reinvent their business model in order to stay relevant.
Yep. Wow. Well, Maurice, maybe you can tell us a bit more about ANW Garant Netherlands. Maybe you could tell us also where it stands for.
That's called AGN.
Yeah, that's called AGN.
Well, we're a retail service organization. The old-fashioned name in Dutch would be inkoopvereniging.
Right.
And we're, like I said, we're part of an European group in 10 countries. One of the main services we have is financial services. We have our own bank. It's not a bank where you can go with your personal savings.
Can you also print your own money, or?
No, not yet. And no, we have a trading volume of 18 billion euros in many sectors. In the Netherlands, we focus on 3 sectors: sport, outdoor, and shoes. And for those retailers, it's independent retailers that work together with more or less 500 suppliers in the Netherlands, and our subtitle was Connecting Retail.
Right.
And in the past we did that with trade fairs and personal relationships. We still do that, but now data, e-commerce is a big part of that. And to facilitate that, we have different marketing labels. A familiar name is Sport 1000. You probably know that, I hope so, from the physical stores. And what we do for those different labels, me and my digital team, is that the simple thing is we sell the stock of the stores. So we have B2C web shops, the names are up there, but we do not supply from a DC or something. No, really, we sell the stock of the stores. The retail owners, the staff in the shops, they prepare the shipment to the end consumer. In the stores? Yeah. Ah, okay. So you have the quality, the craftsmanship from the retailers. That is what we try to offer online to the end consumer. And so we have web shops, online marketing. We do the EDI chain for the whole sport facility. We have we supply from a DC in Mijnhuizen, where our head office is, for big brands like Nike and Adidas. Right. And so we're really in the heart of the retail business. Nice.
Exactly, and I think that your ship from store process is really important, because retail companies, I already said, they have to focus on their niche, but they also have physical store network, which is big marketplaces don't have physical stores, or not many. Right. For example, your organization has, I don't know, 600 stores in the Netherlands.
Well, that's an important given. I mean, like the Top Shoe is founded by the shoe retailers themselves. Exactly. And it's in our DNA. And we work as well for the suppliers, the brands, as the retailers. And like I said before, that they meet together. They have a combined, how you say that, belang. Interest in quality and a fair price policy. And in a highly competitive arena I was talking about, the other platforms, it's like, well, it's a race to the bottom, to be honest. And it's a channel which is important. I mean, I don't say you should neglect that, but you have to be selective what products you sell at what price, how big is your stock, what is the search quality, etc., etc. You have to combine it. Exactly. And this, what in this channel we're talking about, your own marketplace, you have the consumer at your store.
Yeah.
You have the consumer data. You can service them. We have a customer service. We connect the retailer with the consumer when there is a complaint or a problem. If they want to know more about the product and the customer service cannot answer that question, we just call or chat with the retailer.
Exactly.
So the service on a high quality, and there we can distinguish us from. Just
So that's the trend of...
We have a slide of that actually.
Yep. I see the slide.
No,
I see. Oh, it's a different slide.
It's,
Okay,
I need the next chapter slide of maybe I don't know
This
where
is
it
a
is.
beautiful site.
So TopShoe is a marketplace for shoe stores. So you have 200 different stores. They connected all to TopShoe, and then there's a big assortment of shoes.
Yes. So for the retailers are combined in Sport 2000.
Exactly.
We have the obviously Sport 2000 web shop, but it's the same principle. We literally sell the stock from the stores, and we built a digital infrastructure together with Next Chapter. So we have a PIM system for the articles. We have a stock system and the order handling and a pricing tool, and etc. etc. It's a big. All the stocks from the stores are directly related to that system. The stock, the articles, all the GTINs, and a lot of elements that are concerned with that. And I think that's the whole thing. When you want to evolve from a web shop to a marketplace, you really have to think about the content. The technique is there. I mean, the payments are handled by Buckaroo. In all kinds, it's on a high level. So you can meet the standard of the bigger platforms. That's the easy part. But from the web shop, because you have the tooling from parties like Buckaroo or for Next Chapter, but the whole organization behind it, and that's the world I live in. That's what I'm concerned about.
And the local presence of your stores in the cities in the Netherlands, for example, is that the most distinguishing part of the niche you're catering to?
It's absolutely the store itself, but it's also the retailers, they select the products. And there are hundreds and thousands of hockey sticks, sleeping bags, shoes, or whatever. They, with their knowledge, because they meet the consumer in real life, they know what they want. They know they have let's say the craftsmanship, they have the experience, and together they have to make a selection of that. And all those assortments together we offer in our marketplace, in our web shop.
And that's exactly what you don't get at the general marketplace.
No, there's just a lot. Many. And how do you know if it meets your standard, your quality, if it's not an inferior quality, is it a top brand or not? That's safe at our place because of the retailers.
The idea is that as a consumer, if you want to buy, I don't know, like a musical instrument, for example, or like a hockey stick, that you go to the niche marketplace because you know that at that niche marketplace, you can find the best stuff with the best advice, the best content. Maybe you can compare. You can see videos about sportsmen talking about the product. They have the physical stores to get there, to look at it, or to blah blah. So
we take the example from TopShoe then is then all these shoes guys are joining and selling on this in this one marketplace. So what is then the pitfall for them? Because before maybe they had their own web shop and tried to make that successful, and they found out that it's really hard. So they thought, okay, let's sell on a marketplace like TopShoe. And is it easier for them then, or are there any pitfalls also for the shoe players what are connected to these marketplaces?
Well, I think what you're referring to is if you want to start a marketplace or want to evolve to a marketplace, the thing is it's not a one-stop shopping anymore. You need several specialized companies work all together. And what important is that you remain, it's like you're conducting an orchestra. If not all the instruments are at the same base, not all working together, the music doesn't sound good. So, and it's the same with a web shop. If a supplier will promise you top quality and may even deliver that, but if each part doesn't work together in the whole system, then you have a problem. So as the marketplace initiative taker,
Yep.
you have to keep in control and make sure that you're not becoming too dependent on one of the parties, because otherwise conflicts will arise. And I think that's the biggest pitfall, that you have to make it work all together. And it's your responsibility, not the independent supplier.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that I just said that retail companies are, let's say, in danger. Some of them, not all, of course. But I think when they have good leadership, leadership is needed. When they have good leadership, leaders with a vision to become a niche marketplace, and leaders which are able to manage this stuff, manage the multi-vendor stuff, manage the organization, manage the ERP system, for example, the processes, managing the whole stuff, and really understand what's needed to become a niche marketplace, then you can be successful.
What is the hardest part to become this marketplace? Because you need to do marketing on both sides. You need to have and the consumer, plus you need to have all the companies what you are onboarding on the marketplace, what have the right product suite to sell to the consumer at the other side.
Yeah, true. Yeah, most of the times, one of the hardest parts is still, let's say, the technology behind, and I mean not the systems, but I mean the article data, for example, flowing through the systems. So, for example, the AGN case, I think they have about 1 million unique articles in PIM. So that's quite a lot. And those articles should be managed. They should be perfect data. The article data is supplied by the industry. I can tell you it's not perfect in many cases.
I have to disagree on that one. The article data, and I brought a slide from that with that.
Yeah.
The data, the article data, is not supplied by the suppliers. Partly.
I mean the basic
GTIN
data,
and hopefully one image, but I think it's not the most sexy subject I brought with me, but I think it's the most important detail of a web shop, of a marketplace.
You mean the content?
The article property.
Yeah.
Because it's, I will not discuss it in length, but what I want to show with this image is that it's related to almost everything of a web shop.
Yeah.
I mean, like marketing automation is important, but it can only work with the sake of the details of the article. Otherwise, the article won't exist. In a store, you can touch the shoes, you can smell it, you can whatever. But online, it only exists where you have all the properties already. And if you want to relate the individual journey of a consumer, the clicking in a newsletter, and that all combined and shown in a marketing campaign, it only exists with all the elements of an article. And that goes with all the subjects shown. So,
but Maurice, it's different per case, because in your case, you only get basic data from the industry. But we also have cases where the industry is already supplying enriched data. It's different.
It differs per sector.
It differs per sector. And what we see is that every client of us is struggling with article data.
Right.
Just to get quality, it's a huge amount of data.
Are they making their own data or content, photos, videos, text, all these things? They do it by themselves?
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous almost, but many companies have teams, with 10 or 20 people working every day, just making article data.
Even for shoes that are already out there in the market.
Yeah. So everyone is copying it, so to say, or doing it for themselves.
Right.
And that's one of the most difficult things. Of course, we see already new models where companies, having rich data, and they are offering that to other companies commercially. So, let's say article data has value. It's an asset.
Yeah,
it's a competitive advantage.
It's an
advantage, and that's one of the things also why you have to join a marketplace or start it, is the synergy in knowledge and in investments, and collecting and creating content data is one of those issues. I mean, we have, as a European company, we can share our data, and that's pretty nice to have that. So our colleagues in Germany, also from Sport 2000, and our Dutch, we sell the same Nike or Adidas soccer shoe.
Yeah.
So we can combine that data, we translate it,
Exactly.
and enrich our web shop.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, it's all about conversion and more like video, better photos, infographics. It will all increase conversions at the end of the day. Is that very important as well on these marketplaces?
Well, it's all about the margin. I mean, traffic becomes a conversion when your web shop meets the standards of the consumer, and it's not just the price. I mean, many investigations show that consumers appreciate, let's say, a good assortment, not the most, but a good assortment.
Yeah.
The choice is important as well as the price. It's not just the price. So you have to have everything in order to compete with the rest.
About competition, talking about competition, do you also see that sometimes two competitors or big players both start a marketplace in the same niche?
Yeah, sure. Yesterday was a news.
And why should they? Or join it, or join each other?
Yeah. But I think not every retail company in a niche can be a niche marketplace, because then we have, let's say, 50 marketplaces doing the same. So this is still the moment that retail companies can try to be the first or the second. We think that per niche there will be room for, let's say, 3 to 5 niche marketplaces, something like that, and the market should decide who is the best. Another thing that I want to say is that Maurice and myself are always talking a lot about, should retail companies sell their stuff through general marketplaces? Because that's also, not really a pitfall, but it's like a discussion which takes place every day. Because the retailers want to make turnover.
Exactly.
And I said...
Margin.
Money,
profit.
Money.
That's
money.
That's the difference.
They need to pay the bills. Actually. Their market share is decreasing. The general marketplaces are growing and growing. So it is attractive. The idea to sell through the general marketplaces is attractive because for your turnover. But what we say is that there can be reasons to do that, because you have overstock, or you want to try things, or you need the money. But the problem is that you are not owning the relationship anymore with the customer. So if the retailer is selling through the general marketplace to the customer, the general marketplace is owning the relationship with the customer.
Exactly. Owns customer data.
And that's, for the long run, really dangerous, because then the retail company doesn't know the customer anymore. So to put it negatively, we say that the retailer becomes a box mover.
Exactly.
And be in the warehouse of the general marketplace. So that's another reason why retailers really should become a niche marketplace or something like that, to keep the relationship with the customer.
So it's a fight about consumer data. Do you also see, you can also put an insert in the box to do a giveaway campaign or something like that people register on their own site to get data. Do you see any other tricks what retailers are doing to gather the consumer data?
It is a trick, because I think it is illegal, so to speak. But I think retailers should sell through general marketplaces only very selective, how do you say that? Opportunistic. And they really think about when should I do it, when should I not do it. But in general, they should not do it too much, because they lose the relationship with the customer. And why is that important? Well, obviously, when you know your customer, you know what he likes, you know why he buys it. You can do marketing, you can start loyalty stuff, retention. If you don't know the customer, you have no added value, actually.
Right. Okay, great. If there are any questions, by the way, also in the audience here, just raise your hand. Someone with a mic will come up. And also in the chat, you can ask questions. I will see them on the screen here. We also have at the table Flip.
Hi, Bas.
Rose from Buckaroo.
I've been here all the time, yes.
Yeah, I know, Flip. Welcome again, Flip. Tell us a bit more about Buckaroo and about yourself.
Yes, Buckaroo is a payment service provider. and we arrange payments for web shops and marketplaces. And we increasingly focus on more complex payment processes like marketplaces and, for example, subscription solutions. And I'm thrilled to be here today and learn more about the marketplaces.
Nice, welcome to be here.
From a payment perspective.
Exactly, but is there then a big difference if you have a web shop or a marketplace from a payment perspective?
Yeah, there is. And it's good to investigate those because to start with, there are three main differences. First of all, you have to manage vendors. Second of all, you have to deal with mixed baskets and split payments. Mm-hmm. And third of all, you have to think about payouts. And these three aspects add complexity to your selling process. And that's what we're here to fix for our customers. Mm-hmm. So if we go to the first difference, the first slide. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one. To the left,
many sellers, a marketplace, and a web shop.
Exactly. Well, to the left, you have a traditional web shop, and that is the standard situation. And to the right, you see a marketplace where you add sellers to your platform to make sure that others can also sell their stuff on your platform. And what we've learned from the story from Maurice and Michiel is that there are strategic or tactical reasons to move from a web shop to a marketplace. But what is the impact from a payment perspective? Mm-hmm. Well, actually, this is kind of the dull part of the event because, like it says over there, it has to do with legal and compliance. But due to payment regulation from the EU, you have to have a payment license to pay out funds to sellers. And why is that? Last week I spoke to a customer of ours. This example illustrates exactly what the difference is from a web shop, from a payment perspective, in relation to legal and compliance to being a marketplace. Because when you add sellers, you add complexity, as told before. And in this case, I was talking to a client which started as a web shop. It concerns a customer selling hardware for computers and supplies like keyboards, routers, or laptop cases. They started as a web shop, selling their own stuff. Mm-hmm. And along the way, we discovered that during the relationship, they started also selling products from third parties. And that poses a serious business threat because you're not compliant with legislation and regulation. And to manage these risks, you have to manage also seller onboarding. Mm.
So are there any other legal requirements then to manage this whole game?
Yeah. Well, according to the regulation from the EU Payment Service Directive, you need to have a payment license to pay out funds to sellers, to third parties. And in this example, we knew no better than we were dealing with a regular web shop. So the funds from the purchases from consumer, we transfer them to the bank account of our customer. But our customer was unaware of this regulation, and they transferred the funds to third parties, their sellers, on their platform. And they were not compliant. They deducted the commission, but why is that a problem? Well, actually, this is very topical. We've seen the sanctions with Belarus and dealing with Russian companies. Regulators like DNB or the AFM check whether money flows are compliant with those regulations. And in case in this current situation, you might be transferring money to companies or people behind companies that are sanctioned. And we, as a payment service provider, have the obligation to check whether money flows are okay. The DNB or AFM, Dutch National Bank, cannot check every web shop, but they don't need to because they ask us to be compliant.
So you have very good KYC procedures in place to check all that. And
exactly. Exactly.
that they are all compliant.
Yeah, exactly. And that is exactly what we fix for customers when they move from a web shop to a marketplace setup. This complexity from adding sellers, in this example, there might be 5 or almost 1,000. It doesn't matter the number, we fix it for you. And we fix 2 things. 1, you are compliant with legislation. And 2, you don't have the hassle of onboarding and screening the sellers yourself.
Right.
And what is the risk for a company if they don't do it like you explained now? So if they collect the money and they pay out to the vendors?
Well, you might be fined.
Right.
And I'm not aware of how big those fines are. But both us at Buckaroo, we could unintendedly cooperate with payouts to companies or persons behind companies that are sanctioned. So we could get a fine, but our customer could also get a fine.
And what is the fine about? Is it like 100K or what is it?
I'm not sure, but you might be out of business and we lose our payment license, so we're out of business too.
But this changes along the way, right? I mean, in the early days, probably also because with Buckaroo, then you had some koi guys. They had maybe fake web shops and stuff like that, and you didn't have the KYC procedure in place. You're just collecting all these payments, and then a lot of consumers come up to Buckaroo and say, hey, I pay to you, but I don't get my product, and stuff like that. I mean, that should evolve and improve along the way, right?
Yeah, and we did improve that. And,
and you have to, I think.
Yeah, we have to. If you take the business seriously, then you have to improve there. And another nice example to illustrate how we fix this for customers. Voordeeluitjes, very well-known booking site in the Netherlands. They are a booking site right now, and they are planning to move to not only a booking website, but also make the payment along with the booking. Right now, it's just you make a reservation and you pay upon arrival at the hotel or the accommodation. And in the future, they want to move to payment in advance. This increases the ease of booking for a consumer. And for the platform and for the sellers on the platform, it's an interesting proposition because you are you
get your money.
Yeah, you get your money earlier,
right.
So it improves your cash flow. But you can imagine that if you have to onboard 999 sellers, that's very complex. So what we fix for them is a safe and secure connection where sellers can onboard the information we need to screen them, and very fast and very easy. And that's how we help our customers, making that part of the complexity a little more simpler.
Right, and that also helps consumers at the end of the day, the compliance complexity?
Well, that's the goal.
Yeah.
We do everything for conversion, like
yeah.
Michiel and Maurice already said. That's the most important. Also for our customers, the more easy it is for seller onboarding, the more easy it is to convert the shopping basket. Then we are able.
Consumers probably not even aware of this. If it's good.
Well,
because
and
if
they shouldn't because it's not their business. They just want to fill up their shopping basket and make the payment, and they're good to go.
And is your solution that you transfer the money to the different sellers instead of the marketplace themselves?
Maybe that's a nice bridge to the to the next slide, because that's what we're there for. And that's the second difference from being a regular web shop, from moving to a marketplace. You create mixed baskets, and by creating mixed baskets, you also have to deal with split payments. And what happens for a consumer, from a consumer perspective, it's quite the same as shopping on a regular web shop. You fill up your basket, you pay one amount, and that's it. But behind the screens, you have to fix this. The difficulty about mixed baskets, we were talking about the niche marketplace. Nice example of a customer of ours is Obelink. I'm not sure if you're aware with that.
Yes.
If you're a camping fanatic, you go to Obelink to shop for your relaxing camp chair or your free seconds air tent, something like that. And they have a very strong position in that segment. The reason for them to move from a regular web shop to a marketplace were they wanted to expand their range of products. They wanted to add new product categories, and they wanted to add new services to their sellers, but also to the consumer. And if you take a look at the scheme, what they made possible was those mixed baskets, not only their own products, but also from different sellers. In case of the example of the relaxing chair and the 3 seconds air tent, the consumer pays one amount, and in the back, the payment is split. And that's the complexity you have to think about from a payment perspective also, if you implement or want to move from a web shop to a marketplace.
Do you also, I mean, just transferring money is one thing, but you need the underlying documents. Do you also the invoicing part of that split payment?
No, the invoicing part, we only transfer the funds in a secure and safe way and make sure that sellers are onboarded in the most efficient way, making it easy and increase conversion. But the invoicing is something either the marketplace does or they can rely on their sellers to do the invoicing.
But it gets more complex. So if let's say there is a basket with items bought from 2 players, and then the consumer has the products but decides to return one of the items. And then it gets more complex because you have one thing, you need to do the split payment, but then one item comes back. How do you handle that?
A good question. Maybe we can move to the third slide. Because it's there. If you have to manage refunds, you have to make sure that there are enough funds in the seller account. Transferring money is a big deal because it's not only your money, it's also the money from the seller. And although the money doesn't flow through your bank account but ours, you determine largely whether and in what term and which period your sellers get paid. And that is a big responsibility. At the same time, you have to keep the right balance between fast payouts, because every seller wants their money as fast as possible, and managing the seller's account to make sure there's enough money in it to refund consumers. And in general, we offer our customers 3 possibilities to pay out funds to the sellers, which we do for them, but it's a choice they can have in the way they cooperate with their sellers. The first one is money in, is money out. The second one is a payout with a standard delay of a predefined number of days. And the third one is the more complex one. We pay out the funds by a notification back from the marketplace to us to release the funds. And as told before, for the IHS wanted to move to a marketplace setup. One of the reasons being is that they can facilitate the payment upon booking the trip. This has a positive impact, as we told earlier, on the cash flow of the marketplace as well as the sellers. But what might occur a problem as well. What happens when a customer cancels the booking and has the right to be refunded? In the old situation, that wasn't a problem because they would only pay upon arrival. And the situation of refunds wasn't there. It just wasn't a problem. Right now, when they pay in advance, that might be a problem which should be solved. Now, when a customer pays upon booking, you have to think about the refund process, and that is exactly what they did. This means that there has to be enough money in the seller account to manage the refunds. And ideally, you want to transfer funds according to the cancellation policy of the specific accommodation you had your booking with.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what I was talking about with the third option. When we get a signal from the marketplace at the right time that the refund is triggered exactly according to the cancellation policy of the specific location, then you have a tailor-made cancellation and refund policy, and that's what we facilitate as Buckaroo and making the payments possible.
Right. And as a marketplace, actually, you collect all the money from the consumers.
Yeah.
So you're sitting on a pile of cash before it goes back to the retailer.
Exactly.
You can actually do something with this money, or are there any rules or regulations on that? Because you can go to the casino if you want to.
Well, we buy cryptos a lot.
NFTs?
No, we don't. Well, we're not sitting on this pile of money for fun, because it's a burden for us also.
It's a big responsibility, right?
Especially with the negative interest right now. It's costly.
Oh, yeah.
But we do have to keep them, those funds, safe and sound. So we use an escrow for that, a digital vault. And we keep it in this place until the marketplace gives us the signal, you're good to go.
You need to keep it as like you cannot do anything with it. I mean, there are safe ways to make interest or something like that. I mean, it would be smart to do that with this money, but it's not
it isn't our money, so it's also
and not of the marketplace. It's paid in advance. It's not on your P&L. It is on your balance.
Well, it's
a big difference.
Yeah, and it's not on our balance. We have a special bank account for it, which is secure. And if we go bankrupt, it's owned by the sellers of the marketplace, or the commission for the marketplace goes to the marketplace.
How do you handle as a marketplace, I'm interested, how do you handle the market fee? Because refunding the amount of the seller, I understand, but there's also a fee for the market part.
Marketplace,
Marketplace, yes.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, if you go to split payments, one of the splits is the commission for the marketplace. And that also adds complexity to your process, because there are different commission models, and maybe you want to differentiate between a seller who does a lot of business with you and is very successful. You want to have a more competitive commission than a beginning seller who only does 1 or 2 products a month. And for us, it doesn't matter what commission model you think of. You give us the instructions, split this amount, 100 euros in, well, if you go to the big mixed basket again, 50 euros for seller 1, 40 euros for seller 2, and 10% of 10 euros commission. The way you split it is your business. You give us the signal, and we make sure it's split.
So all kind of business rules, percentage based on gross margin or net value or whatever.
We are able to handle all those rules, and it all comes down to splitting an amount in 1 part, 2 part, 3 part, 1 part not, more than 2 or 3 or more, and we're able to handle.
And despite the paying method of the consumer, it doesn't matter for the marketplace or especially for the vendors.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter how the funds come in. We make sure that when it comes in, we split it the way the marketplace wants it to be split, and pay out the money according to, well, the agreement you have with your sellers.
Yep. I want to see some questions out of the audience, so please raise your hand if you have a question, or if you are online, use the chat. Nice session, guys.
Yeah, I think sorry, Flip. I think it's really important for a niche marketplace to have a clear policies about refunds of.
Well, I think that's the strength for every marketplace, and that's why we consumers, shoppers, go to marketplace, because the proposition is very clear.
Yeah.
You have one party to deal with. You know exactly what your rights are for returns and to be refunded, and you can really differentiate there, and that's the power of marketplaces, and why we as consumers buy there.
Maybe another thing, or are we waiting for questions from?
No. If there are any questions, I will see them. Or I see a raised hand in the back, so maybe we can fly him in right now.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a question. How do you look against the marketplaces of Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc.?
Great. Big trend going on, obviously, in the social selling part. So,
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question because if I focus on the Netherlands, for example, the social marketplaces are not e-commerce platforms yet, well, they're starting to do so. But in the very near future, there will be e-commerce platforms. So consumers are already at Facebook, at Instagram, at Google, obviously, other, let's say, social or search platforms. So those platforms will add a buy button and be like an affiliate model for the companies behind. But they will do the transaction, and they will, again, own the relationship with the customer. And that's a strategic thing here, that they already have the traffic on their platforms. And when they add the buy button, they know more about the people visiting the platform. So they are enriching their customer data and becoming stronger and stronger. So yeah, that's a new thing, which will be, I think, very huge.
And do you see, what's your opinion, do you see that there's a chance to sell out of stock or extra products, or do you have the opinion with general marketplaces? And
it's the same as from the perspective of a retail company. I just said like you were kind of forced, or the idea of selling through general marketplace is attractive just because of the turnover, I think. That's the same for the social marketplaces.
Yeah.
So if you need money or you have to overstock, blah, blah, then you can sell through social marketplaces. But in the long run, it's a really dangerous strategy for a retail company because you don't know the customer anymore.
well, I see lots of volume coming up when influencers are talking about products, and that the people actually on the social platform don't have to leave the platform, and that the transaction can take place in Instagram and TikTok and Facebook or whatever it is, or WhatsApp.
I think it's especially for introduction of new articles.
Exactly.
I mean, as a retailer, those closed communities like the social platforms you mentioned, or Google is becoming a closed marketplace, and the Bulls and Amazons we talked about. It's as a retailer at this point, it's not just offer your assortment to all those platforms. You really have to be selective. Yeah. And one of the speakers later on this day, ChannelEngine, has tooling where you can really look per article. You look at the introduction price, you look further in the life cycle of the product, how much margin you want to gain with it, what is the stock, what is the need for the product, what you can collect from the search data, and you all have to combine that, and through software you have a dynamic process so that you 24/7 can connect the demand of the consumer and what you want to offer to protect your margin. It's not just offering all your products on all the channels. Yeah, you can use the channels, but in different stages of the product life of the assortment you're selling. E-commerce has evolved, and the big giants are really setting the standard, and you have to meet that. Also, when you have your own marketplace, and that's why you need, that's the whole reason why I'm sitting here. You have to work with this kind of parties to have some space in that competitive arena.
Yeah, great. Exactly. And I also think that, for example, brands, they are building or already have built their own direct channels, so their own web shops. For example, Nike.com is a web shop. That's a really strong channel for them, with the highest margin, I guess. They use the general marketplaces to sell to consumers. They will use the social marketplaces. That's the new thing. They use ChannelEngine right now. Brands use ChannelEngine to integrate with
the social marketplace.
To the social marketplace and to the general marketplace. And then the interesting thing is that if retail companies become a niche marketplace, ChannelEngine will also integrate to those niche marketplaces.
Exactly.
So that's also how we cooperate with ChannelEngine.
Yep.
That ChannelEngine is like a gateway to the niche marketplaces that we deliver to our clients.
Guys, the time is there. We need to wrap up. Let's do some key takeaways, quick key takeaways. Maurice?
Last thing I want to mention is the data. If you have your own marketplace, what is interesting, if you have the data and transfer that in information, statistics, dashboards, you create benchmark information for those retailers. They have their own data, but then they can compare themselves with all the other retailers. So the benchmarking of the data, I think that's really an advantage within your own marketplace.
True.
Great. Michiel?
Yeah, I think the major takeaway is, if I focus on the wholesale companies, retail companies, is, don't wait. You should really look at what's happening in the market.
Yeah.
And you should act, I think.
Move now.
And move now, exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
Flip?
Well, I think the key takeaway for me is that there is room for niche marketplaces. It's an interesting growth model. But you do add, from a payment perspective, some complexity, and Buckaroo will be here to fix that for you.
Great. Thank you all, guys.
Thanks, Bas.
Thank you.
It was nice talking. We are at the end of session 1. We go for a short break for the online viewers, eat, drink, or do something. There also will be videos playing about companies. You're sitting here on the table. Or use the chat if you have any more questions. We start again at 11 o'clock. That's in about 30 minutes. And then we go to the second session. How you really can have the building blocks for international marketplace growth and expansion with Niels, Ronald, and Bert. Thank you.
Thanks.
Welcome back all to this live stream event, Marketplace, the growth model of the future. We had a very nice first session with Michiel, Maurice and Flip about how to become a marketplace, payments and all these kind of things. Now we have 3 new experts here at the table. And we're going to talk about the building blocks for international expansion. We have at the table Niels Floors, he's VP and Sales Partnerships from ChannelEngine. We have Ronald Metzelaar, he's Sales Director from Active Ants. And we have Bert van Son, CEO from Magines International. Welcome all. We start with Niels.
Yeah.
VP of Sales Partnerships, ChannelEngine. That's a mouthful. Tell me a bit about what you do and what ChannelEngine does.
So we're building a global ecosystem, right? We're a marketplace integration suite. So we connect to over 150 channels, and that's marketplaces and other third-party sales channels. On a global scale, so we also grew the past, 3 years from 10 to 150 colleagues in 6 different offices around the world. So it was an exciting time. And we're only going to keep on expanding because these marketplaces are growing all over the world, and we're seeing marketplace models pop up everywhere. And those need to be connected with your back-end systems. So we fully automate your content, stock, price, order flows, return flows, what we're going to talk about in a bit. And make sure you can compete and keep control of all those channels. That's ChannelEngine.
ChannelEngine connects all the marketplaces in the world. Is that a fair summary?
Connecting global e-commerce. That's yeah, that's
nice.
it.
Very nice. So we see a big shift going on, right? From traditional e-commerce web shops and stuff like that to the marketplaces. Marketplaces are taking bigger and bigger market shares in every country in the world, even everywhere. So why do you think the shift is going on from traditional e-commerce to these marketplaces?
Yeah, so we talked about a few of these things in the first session this morning, of course, with what's happening. We have a slide that's coming up in a bit that you're going to see. But main thing is, well, they're taking over, right? It's 75% of all those 75% of e-commerce is going to be on marketplace in a few years. It's not only the traditional marketplaces, but it's a combination of traditional marketplace in combination with all of the different platforms that have a marketplace model in place. Retailers, as we saw this morning, that are turning into a marketplace, where you see that a lot of product searches are already on marketplaces. So it's about, I think, 60% of all product search already take place on those marketplaces. Big platforms, so on the next slide, big platforms are turning in, so retailers are turning into marketplaces all over the world. They're taking on the niche. I mean, Bol.com was also a retailer in the past. Amazon also primarily had a vendor model, now pushing everything to a seller model. And that's what you're going to see happening more and more around the world. 3P, so reseller models, that's where they're focusing on to really keep, also brands want to go to that 3P model, a third-party seller model, to really take that control and get their brand portrayed on the marketplace the right way. And the last one, I think that's the most interesting, that everything is turning into a marketplace, and even all the social channels. So you're seeing Twitter commerce coming up with channels, right? You're seeing TikTok coming up with channels, WhatsApp commerce coming up. WeChat, Pinterest, all those different social channels that are turning into a marketplace. So you're not anymore getting clicks to your own web shops, but the transactions taking place right at the tip of your fingers on your mobile devices. And that's the nice thing, or that's why the shift is going that quickly. Then there's a few other things that are happening, and where you see a few other channels coming up. Besides those social channels, you see on the next slide that there's a few, we have the marketplace here, you have the D2C shops, you have the B2B shops, the drop shipment channels. Those are all more the traditional, where we were and what we're used to at the moment. But nice things that you see is like in-car commerce. Germany, you can already pay. Mercedes has it now in their cars. You can pay your gasoline in your car. You don't have to leave it, drive away, and you've paid. Yep. What other things are you going to start buying in your car when you're going home? Your groceries. You know what you want to get, and when you're home, you have your groceries.
Car wash, McDonald's, drive-in.
Whatever. In-car. Social commerce, we just talked about it, of course. Live commerce is something that you're really seeing coming up in more of the Asian markets, so Southeast Asia. They have big trainings with all of those big auditoriums that they're training. How are you going to sell your products and create a more experience?
It's like the new version of Telcel, right? But then,
it's a new version of Telcel.
Live stream way.
Yeah. But I mean, live commerce doesn't only have to be for a camera. It can also be a chat on a certain platform. So shop and shop on a traditional marketplace where you can get a chat, where you can get into a video conference with someone, just like you're in a store, that you can get some advice with what kind of size should I get, how does a product fit, those kind of things. That's what you're seeing that's being incorporated in traditional marketplaces. And last one, I think that's more future, where big brands are really taking on here, is the metaverse. Getting your goggles on.
Actually, our own world, finally.
Our own digital world. We don't have to leave our homes anymore. It would have been great during COVID when you weren't allowed to leave your home. But the experience part is being added to the marketplace models, right? You're getting your digital shopping malls. I saw that Adidas and Nike both created their own shops on Roblox, where you can just get in, get the experience, see the products, walk through the digital realm there. Yep. And you're going to see malls coming up, so that you're going to go into shops digitally and be able to see the products and buy it there. So, that's the next big thing, I think.
So there will be a world that you can't differ the real world from the digital world, let's say the metaverse. So Elon Musk would ask if we live in a simulation, Niels.
Well, it's going that way, and I think, but I think we're going to see things intertwined with each other, right? We're going to see traditional with all these new channels, because I think experience is a really important part in getting your brand portrayed the right way, getting the experience of the consumer, and getting that checkout as close as possible and as easy as possible on the platforms. Just click play, have your credit card filled in, and be able to buy wherever you are at that time.
Wow.
So, and I think these are the main reasons that we're going to see that why the shift is only going to go quicker and quicker to all those marketplace models.
Wow. Well, you guys are connecting the whole world of e-commerce. Can you throw some rough numbers? What goes to ChannelEngine? I mean, you have big brand stores or percentages or whatever. I mean, there's a lot happening. If you're connecting all the marketplaces and the vendors, you need to have big servers to handle that.
We have a very big service, so I'm really glad with our IT team that keeps everything working on a day-to-day basis. Can't say a lot about the numbers because, of course, it's all revenue numbers of our clients, and we want to keep that behind closed doors. But we see that many brands, actually more and more brands coming to ChannelEngine these days, selling directly to consumer through all these channels.
Exactly. But you're doing like millions of orders a day, or
millions of orders a day. Adding multiple channels for multiple sellers a day. We can't all do it ourselves, so that's why we also have a partnership ecosystem around ChannelEngine.
Right.
We look for best-of-breed partners. That's why we're here today, right? We partner up with Active Ants, with Next Chapter, with all of our partners that have a certain specialty or something that is a value add to the entire value chain. So we have logistics partners, we have agencies that can help with content, marketing, operations, strategy, but also we focus a lot with the partnership with all of the marketplaces we connect to, because we have to work together to make it a success in the entire value chain here, and to make sure that our clients grow on these channels, and that they can sell to all of these different regions in the world, because it is easy to go cross-border via all these channels, but you have to have the operations to be ready to go.
It's never been easier to go global than now with these marketplaces. It's the most scalable infrastructure there is, right?
It is. And you see that most of the brands that we work with, they start off with, well, if it's a regional brand or a local brand, they start off with going to marketplaces, selling on those marketplaces, seeing if their product really works in a new market, the market adopts it, their content also fits the market. They start off with all the marketing campaigns around it. Once they've done that, then they start also adding their own brand stores in the regional, because
so
they want to have
marketplace first, and then own channels.
Yeah.
So if from a seller perspective, what do you take into account when you start on a marketplace?
Well, I think the beginning is really defining your strategy with how do you want to go to a marketplace, choosing the right channels that fit your brand, right? It's not always all the bigger brands that you see up there that are best to fit your brand. I mean, sometimes the entire philosophy of the marketplace doesn't fit your brand. So then don't go with them, right? You have to be able to, or you have to choose the marketplace that really going to work for your organization. That's one. The strategy part is essential, because, just going for it, that's not the way that you're going to be a success. We see that with some of the more retailers that think, okay, this is just new sales channels. We're just going to be adding channels. And you don't see a lot of sales going through the channels. It does take a lot of time to set things up. So that's just actually wasting money. And time. Yeah, and the companies that really look into a strategy, look into which channels are we going to go on, and also make sure their backbone's ready for that, they have the most success, and just going channel for channel, making sure it's ready, set up, working, then going to the next channel. Exactly. Because it needs focus.
It's one of the, not the biggest, but it's one of the mistakes I made myself as well, like just onboarding on all the channels and then doing none of the channels right. So what parameters are you looking at if you're choosing the right channel then?
So maybe also one step back in choosing the right channel is, let's say, can your organization handle it, right? You have your entire organization needs to be adapted to the marketplace model, right? It's from e-commerce to marketing, content needs to fit the marketplace, finance needs to know how are they going to be able to handle this financial system. It's new for them, right?
And don't forget the logistics.
Logistics.
Exactly.
Logistics, IT. IT.
Are you in logistics? Yeah. A little bit.
IT, of course, making sure that your backbone can handle all these orders that are coming in, but it's also automated, because if otherwise you're gonna have too much pressure on your logistics, on your data centers, on all the orders need to be synchronized between systems. Buying and purchasing needs to be aligned. Which stock are you going to sell where, right? You want to keep some for your vendor, for your other sales channels as well. So that also needs to have a strategic choice there. So you can't just say, okay, I'm just going to put everything on there, then sell out or oversell, and then 3 strikes and you're out on the marketplace, and you've spent a lot of money setting things up. So that's more of the preparing for the marketplaces.
So first team.
First team.
The right team. Yeah. Marketplace team. So marketplace manager is one of the most wanted jobs, I think, these days.
Yeah. It was an e-commerce manager in the past, but I think it shifted fully to a marketplace manager. Now you will need a marketplace manager per channel, I think, if you really want to take it seriously.
True that.
you can't, it's not a one-man job. I have seen a few, well, they're burned out now. And then when you're choosing, and then aligning all your teams internally, that's one. How are you going to choose the right channels between the entire jungle of marketplaces? Because you just saw there's a lot of them out there. I think there's thousands. Europe has most of them because it's most scattered around on niche players, vertical players, horizontal players. Everything's out there, and there's more and more coming from because of partners like Next Chapter that are just retailers becoming a marketplace, right, in that niche. Our advice is do look at that niche, because the niche is where you're gonna, it fits your product assortment best. Consumers also look at those marketplaces in the niche. Your products will be found better on those marketplaces, so your revenue is also going to grow quicker. And you can start testing the waters there, right? Testing the entire marketplace model and how it works. And once you go to the big players, we would advise to also use them because it's easier to go cross-border if you want to go cross-border. You do have to have a lot more knowledge in-house with how those work, right? You need to know how their search engines work for your content, for your advertising campaigns, because you're starting as a blip on the horizon and you need to work up to the front pages with your products. And you have to go hard or go home, because otherwise it won't work. You have to trigger that algorithm that's behind it, right? And that takes time, knowledge to get to that state.
Yeah, and going cross-border sounds obviously easy, but it's even actually, from my experience, pretty hard. You need to have like every e-commerce player has the same problems. It's like cash flow and liquidity. You need to have the stock in the right place. So tell me a bit more about these challenges and opportunities, and maybe Bert can also relate to that.
I think you have the first off sight, let's say, or feeling how it really is. We see it from, let's say, from our perspective, how clients are going cross-border. Main thing, let's say, the opportunities are, right? It's no real big initial investment besides the teams that you have and changing them to go to marketplaces, because you don't have to build a whole entire shop around it. There are investments, but it's not as big as creating your own web shop in a new country.
No, that's not a big investment.
No.
For us, we need to have the stock, which is in Nieuwegein. And if it goes to Holland or Germany or France, it doesn't matter for us. So that's the same. That's not a challenge.
Yeah, and they have an existing customer base, right? That's the interesting thing. Yes. You don't have to build that yourselves. But there are a lot of, I think, the challenges, and that's, you do have competition on the marketplace.
Yes.
Right? So I don't know if you have how your experience is with competing on these marketplaces.
Yeah, I can say something about that. We started with Zalando because we thought that was a wise idea. And this was 6 years ago when there was no ChannelEngine. We had to work with somebody else at that time. But to connect through, very difficult, lots of headaches. Finally, we were on. And that didn't work because during that time we are a sustainable denim brand, and we really try to do everything right, just not 1% of a turnover, but everything. And if you're on Zalando, now for jeans, every jeans has a green dot. So for us, we cannot express ourselves anymore. We cannot be different.
What does the green dot mean for the ones
I don't know. You tell me. We have it. It's bullshit. But the consumer thinks
it's green.
That it's good, and there's something behind it.
Yeah. But tell me a bit more about the cradle-to-cradle model.
So our company Mud Jeans makes jeans of all jeans. So we want our customers to send back their old jeans after use. First, we start, of course, with the production of our jeans, which is totally sustainable from the raw cotton to the people that work in our factories and the materials we use. So no toxic dye stuffs, no washings with potassium permanganate. All that stuff is eliminated. But we thought that's not good enough. Let's also be responsible for what we put into the market. It's now called EPR, Extended Producer Responsibility. But 10 years ago, it was totally unknown. So we give people a 10-euro discount when they send back their old jeans. So for our...
a 10-year discount when they send back their old jeans.
Yeah, that's one thing. Or you can lease a pair of jeans, which means that we want our jeans back after use and we remain the owner of the raw material. Wow. It's a bit complicated, but there's a small movie that will explain it later. But for our logistic partner, I think we are the most challenging customer because we have people sending back old jeans that then has to be go to the shredder part, which then goes to Valencia. We have old jeans that come back that can still be reused and repaired and rewashed and sold as vintage. Then you have a customer sending back an old jeans, a new jeans, but the fit is wrong. Wants to change, or somebody sends it. So all this. For somebody like Activance is
we have Ronald Betzla at the table here from
so I still don't know why I am invited. Actually.
And still we are happy with you, and we are glad that we.
I can't imagine, but okay.
Still we are.
Nice.
Maybe a short introduction about Activance. We are a fulfillment company, the biggest player in the Benelux. We are part of the bpost family, so that's the Belgian postal organization. And we have a couple of facilities in our area. In the Netherlands, we have 2 facilities, and one of them we are using for mud jeans. We have one in Roosendaal in the south. We have also a facility in Belgium and also in Germany. And at the moment, as we speak, we are building in Northampton in the UK. So, and that's what we really want to be, because we see also the platforms growing, and it's not only in the Netherlands, of course, but it's also very international. So we need to be very close to the consumer, to the receiver, and sometimes also to our clients. And that's the reason why we created a multi-warehouse solution for our clients. So that means that with one click, we can use multiple locations. And that makes it very convenient, very easy, and also very efficient to have your stock very close to the end user. Or in case of mud jeans, for example, if we have to receive the goods, receive the returns, we can do that locally, and that's also good for the environment, of course.
We see the robots running in a picture on the slides. Tell us a bit more about the automations in the warehouse.
We are a strange fulfillment company, because if you are in our facility, it's completely robotized, and that's unique. So we are using the outer store, that's for the storage. We have automatic packing machines. We can print full color logos on parcels if that's a requirement of our client. And we have rangers driving in the warehouse that are bringing empty boxes and full loaded boxes to the packing departments. So it's completely robotized. So sometimes we can almost we can turn off the light and the process will go on.
Nice.
But that's
there are not people with infrared goggles working.
I think that we have more, let's say, operators than really order pickers.
Wow.
So that's completely different.
So how much labor do you save because of the automations in the warehouse?
A lot. Yeah, we can compare that to other facilities that we have within our group. Yeah, and I think it's less than let's say factor 5, something like that. So it's much more efficient than the real labor. And also in our business is growing very rapidly. So we need a lot of people. With the outer store, it's very scalable. And for example, in our facility in Roosendaal, we started with 60,000 bins, and at the moment we have expanded that volume into 120,000 bins. Wow. So it's really scalable, and that's also helping our clients because our market is growing so fast that we need to help with all the marketplaces. That the volume is booming.
So then you have the marketplace integrators. You have also clients directly connecting to the platform. What does that mean?
Exactly. That means that of course we have a good relationship with ChannelEngine, for example, and we advise our clients because there's only one thing that we want is that our clients are the most successful one in their market. So if we see that there is an opportunity to use ChannelEngine for a certain market, for example in Germany, About You or Zalando or the other ones, or maybe more the smaller marketplaces, then it's helping our client, and if our client is successful, we are in the end successful.
I think logistics is also one of the most challenging things countries for going cross-border and selling on marketplaces. I mean, you have very strict SLAs. Everything needs to be on time. If you don't do it, you're going to have a less seller performance. Your products are not going to be found as well as they were, right? Or you're going to be blacked out, so 3 strikes and you're out of there. And you can't sell anymore on marketplace, and your whole entire revenue channel is gone there. It's always good, right? If you can do your own fulfillment, great. But I mean, I think the solution providers that are out there, they're much better in what they do, especially with all these channels and all these new countries. Channels also have good solutions, but you don't want to scatter your stock all over all those different channels, because then you get...
This is interesting, because that's what we did with Zalando. We changed from keeping our stock there to ZFS, to have a part of our stock in Zalando.
Yeah.
The advantage is, of course, that your flow goes with the parcel of Zalando, and it's much cheaper. But on the other hand, now for us it was a disaster. We are pulling back. And,
so that's a fulfillment from Zalando itself, where you can send your goods.
It's called Zalando Fulfillment System, I think.
Zalando Fulfillment Solution.
So,
and that was a disaster, and now you're taking it back to active.
No, disaster is maybe not the right word, but like you say, true. You have to put money there, and there's stock.
Yeah.
You have to be very powerful also, because they want the stock also always to be up to date, but you don't know where your stuff is. Yeah. So we had a hybrid model. Partly it went from our stock in Nieuwegein to Zalando, and partly from the ZFS system. And no.
Yeah. And that's actually always the advice that we do is, let's say, adopt that hybrid model. I mean, you're going to have top selling products you can have at the marketplace. I mean, the prices are competitive there, right? You have the products there. You don't have to have your whole stock there, but also work together with logistics providers that you have a backup. So if you do run out of stock, that you can switch over right away or automatically, right? That's what we help with. And then make sure that you have a good combination of the two, because sometimes it does help your business to grow. Long tail, do it yourselves, because it doesn't make sense to have
sales were good. It's not not the problem, but logistically, also for my whole company, our little company, this was too much work, and we were not ready.
So you're taking it back to one location then now?
Yeah, it's going back to...
I mean, and at least at Amazon and Bol, you have advantages once you have your goods in the warehouses of the marketplace
that's
itself.
What they told us also.
Is it Zalando as well, but you don't see any difference in sales?
No, they were promising us all kind of things that we were going to be highlighted.
No uplift when you put the stock at Zalondo's warehouse? No. Okay, interesting.
But you know, they say, I think it's on the retailer, and let's say they do say it is, let's say, in the buy box. It's positive. It creates a positive effect for your buy box. Yeah. But the algorithm behind the buy box, nobody fully can see what's happening there, right? Exactly. We also saw sometimes when the pressure was too high on certain warehouses of the marketplaces, they switched off to non-buy box to get that winning. For anybody that's asking what the buy box is, it's the big yellow button on the marketplace website. You want to win that button, and you want to make sure that you and there's all kinds of things in the algorithm behind it that you have to adhere to: price, right, seller performance, the shipping times, all those things. But yeah, this is sometimes one of the things that they do say.
Yeah, you have to remember we are very special, of course, with our logistic challenges, and also I heard Michiel talking about the niche market. We are triple niche. We are trying to sell jeans online, which is
crazy.
Very difficult. Don't do that ever. We're trying to sell sustainability. We try to sell a story where we want to tell you how it's better, and we have, you want to go to a store normally to fit a pair of jeans, especially men. You know, the second and third and the 10th is okay, but women want to try their jeans on. So we still need. I don't think the Googles are going to exchange the way you feel and fit a pair of jeans.
It's not one solution fits all.
No, so I think we are
not working, but we have also some clients then it's working.
I can imagine, of course.
It's also depending on which marketplace. So an Amazon is more strict than other ones. Yeah. And for Zalando, for example, there are special carriers needed for the last mile. So it's really you cannot say it's a marketplace in general. It's case by case.
True, yeah. And one of the reasons we started working also with Active Ants, that you work with fietscourier.nl.
Yeah.
We think of course. And we are also a benefit corporation, a B Corp, one of the highest scorings in the world. And we ask our partners we work with also to sign our code of conduct.
Yep.
And you were one of the few ready to sign this, because we're really trying to be difficult, you know. I mean, how do you treat people? How do you treat robots? No,
Wow.
Yeah,
But,
that's also we are part of the bpost family, so and that's 50% of the shares of that company is the government of Belgium. So we are very strict on that.
because you just asked me the question, who are my customers?
Yeah.
And one of the things, they're very critical. If you try to do something sustainable, you will feel that people are even more critical, and they're asking this kind of things. How do you ship? Where's your warehouse?
Yeah.
And we got comments also on working together with Zalando. You know,
Your employees.
So you also have your own channel selling your jeans?
yes,
And
that works really well.
Which one is more successful right now?
Our own channel.
Okay.
It's unbelievable. People
that's
find
great.
us. Yeah, well, there are not many circular denim fashion brands.
Yep.
So if you type that, you always come to us.
Wow.
And COVID helped us a lot.
Yeah.
We doubled hits on our website
Nice.
by doing nothing, but just because people, I think, had more time and were thinking more about better things.
Right.
So,
And what was the reason then that you started selling on marketplace?
we were before on Zalando, and one of the reasons we thought was that we reach a much larger audience.
Yep.
But it didn't really work for us. Our audience is small, and it's not main. We are not mass market. We know that. The dark green customer we have already. We can find them. We're looking now to find the light green customer, who wants a pair of sustainable jeans, but doesn't. It has to be easy to find.
Yeah.
And that's our challenge now. And we thought that maybe this would help. And maybe it will help. We're starting with Bol now, but we see that people don't go to Bol, I think, for clothing, if I'm not mistaken.
They're building.
Yeah,
It's,
true.
you see everything on TV now, right? All the ads that they're focusing on fashion.
We also get demands from other marketplaces where we feel they contact us because we have such a good story and they want to clean up their mess.
Yep.
And I don't want to be used for that also.
No.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
there's
I love the cradle story, and I also love the lease part because I think your customer retention must be super high.
It's unbelievable, and that's why I believe more in the socials. We are doing pretty well on Insta, for instance.
Yep.
Yeah.
And really good reactions. There's really exchange of information. We have an ambassador program. We do lots of things. We have for students a program where they can do a study with us about circular fashion. So that's the way we want to create connection with our customers, and it's totally different than the marketplace. But again, we need to be more visible. Nobody knows mud jeans.
No. But tell me a bit more. Tell me a bit more about the model. Let's say I want to lease 2 jeans. So how much a month? Yeah, or 5, whatever.
It's very simple. Actually, you go on our website. You pick your style, your washing, and your color, and your size, and then you have 2 buttons. One is buy now, and then that's the normal way. And then the other button is lease now. And then you go out of our system to another site. Somebody built this for us because it's quite difficult to get this monthly payments in. And when somebody changes after 1 month, I can tell you the complexity is enormous.
People can reject payments or decline.
Things like that, yeah. Or they change the bank account number or something. So that's somebody taking care of it for us. You lease a pair of jeans for a year if you want. 12 months payment. Actually, it's an extended payment. And after 12 months, you can either decide to keep it longer because we don't want to push fast fashion. Mm-hmm. But if you decide to send it back, you get a discount on the next one. Mm-hmm. And the situation keeps going.
Now, what is the typical yearly fee to wear the jeans?
€119, which is actually the same price when you buy it.
When you buy it, yeah. Wow, that's great.
So €10 a month.
Yeah.
And it's funny because some people ask me, okay, who's your customer? We call them the critical citizens. Of the cultural creative.
Yeah.
And then age comes in. People say, okay, what age group is it? And I always say, and this is totally wrong, but I always say that we don't have age group because we have young girls, 12-year-olds saying to their parents, I want to lease a pair of jeans for my monthly allowance. And I also have people 88 years old on the phone saying, I saw your thing and I want to buy 3 pairs of jeans. What kind of jeans? Blue jeans. And in between, so there's no age group, I think, for sustainable jeans.
No, I think you have a very, not a niche, but I think it's a growing part who really cares about the cradle-to-cradle thing and the sustainability of everything.
I would hope so. It doesn't grow fast enough, in my opinion. We do now 100,000 jeans a year, and if you look at the total market of 9 billion pairs of jeans sold every year, we are still nothing.
There's some room to grow.
There's some room to grow, but it's not our only reason for existence. It's also to try to show them the big jeans market or the fashion industry that you can do things differently. And so that's also
why don't you create your own niche market? Because you are the ambassador of this concept.
Okay.
Why not in other kind of products like t-shirts or shoes?
We're getting there. We're getting there. But our thing is we are very strict to ourselves. Also, if I want to make a t-shirt, I start at the beginning. So I want to know where the cotton comes. Can I recycle it? Yeah. Is it a mono stream of material? Is it worthwhile? Because a pair of jeans of 120 euros, if you send it back and I send it to Valencia, it's worthwhile to start doing that. But a t-shirt of 10 euros. It's more complex, you know.
What's your background, Bert? Why do you care so much about cradle to cradle?
I've been now 40 years in the garment industry, and to cut the long story short, I sold a company in 2008 in France, which I had, and I took a year off. Actually, I became 4 years. Really, it was good. But then I decided, okay, I have all this knowledge and experience, and I've seen the fashion industry grow from something nice, clothing that you are of good quality, that you can protect yourself and you look good, to this fast fashion monster we have today. And that's not good for anybody. We are running into our limitation on growth on our earth, socially, but also environmentally. And I wanted to do something different. So then you take the biggest item, the jeans, the most polluting item. Everything goes wrong in the jeans, from the cotton to your doorstep.
Yeah.
And if I could make an impact there and change something, then I thought, well, let's do that.
Wow.
But it's been hard. It's now 10 years. We celebrate our 10 years anniversary.
Wow.
I had a friend coming in last week and he said, do you still exist? I said, yeah, we still exist. We're still here. So, yeah, it's difficult.
Wow. Well, I'm going to buy one. I like the story.
I'll share the discount code with you.
Great. I'll put it in the chat.
The name is out there now.
It's walk the talk.
Yeah.
It's easy to remember.
Yeah, but you were talking about marketplace before, that it's not like a big chunk of the pie yet.
No.
Where do you see it going?
I think I'm learning a lot today.
Yeah.
Especially from you. Thank you for that. Now, I think the socials, we're doing well on socials. There we reach really our client and we interact with them.
Direct sales on socials.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's,
yeah,
for me, the solution. If I could,
that's the future, yeah. And talking about fulfillment.
correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I totally agree. I think there's going to be a combination of the channels, of course, and every organization just needs to fit. As I said, it needs to fit the organization where you're selling your products, and the products need to be portrayed the right way on the channels that you want to sell on. And I think that's the whole goal of a brand, and why a lot of brands are going direct to consumer, to take that control and make sure that you...
We have to sit down soon.
We will.
We're already a customer. So.
Well, we're sitting here. That's a start.
Yeah. And you were talking about like selecting this fulfillment partner and everything you wanted that the fulfillment partner has in-house and how they treat people and stuff like that. Yeah. Tell me a bit more about that process, because you never hear that. People just go, I want a fulfillment partner, cheap, fast.
Yeah, that's not our aim. No. We started, of course, by ourselves, 10 years ago, picking the box and sending out your 2 jeans per day, but that grew fast, and we went to another first fulfillment partner in Almere, and we grew too fast for them, I think, and one of the reasons was that we said we insist on having our jeans, as if possible, delivered by bike, and they just refused, so we said, okay, then we go. And then we had the whole selection process of finding a logistic partner, which is quite hard. Everybody promises you the world. And, but I think we made the right decision.
Well, you do get access to the world. That's
true. Yeah, but also there we are limited, because our aim is not to ship all jeans back and forth over the oceans. So if we do something, we're now talking to an American partner, where we want to do the same thing we do here, but locally. So that must be jeans made in America, shredded in America, spinned in America.
Is this model already widespread? Is it already in the States as well, that some guys are doing this, or is it...
No, we're starting now in the United States, in Kentucky.
But no one else is doing it in the United States already?
No.
Wow. I do think you see more and more companies that are really focusing on the reverse logistics side of things, right? That's, I think, the main thing here, that's where the folks are more on the logistics side. Returns is one, but I mean, really the return with logistics, but getting things turned around and back into your sales channel as efficiently as possible.
It's interesting that you say that, because we had an intern last December writing to all their jeans companies she knew, asking, can I send back my old Wrangler or whatever?
Yeah.
And I can show you the answers you get. It's fantastic.
Do you have those somewhere?
I use it in my presentation.
Okay. Yeah. But Bert, I love this story so much that, I mean, these days with COVID, everything, the raw material prices are rising to the roof.
Yeah.
The logistics fees are growing through the roof.
Yeah.
You don't have all this trouble because you get all the raw materials for almost, no, let's say for free. You get your material back and you make a new one.
I mean,
at the end of the day, at the back end, it's a difficult process.
It is a difficult process. If you might think that, okay, I use waste to make new jeans, and you hope that might be cheaper.
Yeah.
But because of the complexity, making yarns out of shredded jeans, it's a bit harder. You have more delay, it takes more time. So for the moment, but okay, we are getting to the volume where it gets better. And we had a big project with IKEA, and that helped us a lot to get to big volumes.
IKEA selling jeans?
No, they came to us, they said, we want to be circular in 2030.
Right.
You are circular.
Okay.
Can you help us? So it's like Goliath asking.
So then,
and we said,
throw
okay,
the closet back into a machine and get a new closet.
No, it took us 3 years. We said, okay, let's take the most iconic item, which is the clip-on. Everybody knows the clip-on here. Okay. And we made a cover of denim for the clip-on, which is now for sale in IKEA. And it's unbelievable because the most expensive cover is 39 euros there normally. Ours is 99, which is for them a very high price, and it's their best-selling item.
Wow.
So
is
that shows a lot, I think.
Do they tell the story in the stores as well, or
Not
is it a video
enough.
playing, or
not good enough? There's 2 mud jeans hanging there, which you can give in if you want. We had the first pallet coming in from IKEA with all jeans. Now they don't tell the story good enough. Could be better, but no, the video, good idea. I will push that. But it was good enough. The story is written. You can go to IKEA.
Do you help with the story there? With
of course. This is
this
is what we're really good at. Hopefully.
And Ronald, about logistics, how do you see the challenges going on these days? And do you guys also have big challenges logistics-wise?
Yeah, absolutely. What we see, we started as let's say a local player. Yeah, so we started in the Netherlands. We had 2 owners. Then bpost came in our company, and what you see is that it's getting more and more international. That's also the reason why we are building new facilities outside the Netherlands. But what you also see is that if I make the bridge to the platforms, that we need to have more and more services. So we need to help you with all kind of different carriers. There are special instructions per
same-day delivery.
Same-day delivery, but also a special document what is required in a certain parcel, or yes or no. How is the return handling? And that makes it really complex. If you are selling via all those platforms, that is not one solution fits all. No, it's maybe 10 or 20, maybe 30 solutions for all those platforms, and that makes it. There's also an opportunity for us. So if you have your own fulfillment, it's not you cannot manage that by yourself, because then at the moment we have, let's say, 13 carriers each day on our docks picking 13? Up all the every day. Oh, wow. That's really challenging. Another thing is that we are connecting directly to all those platforms, or that's our advice, connect directly to ChannelEngine, for example. So our IT is working very hard to make every day new connections to all those platforms, and also the niche ones. Yep. So there's a lot of things going on.
Wow. Yeah. And Active Ants has warehouses in particular countries. Yeah. Do you also help people going to other countries than the countries where your fulfillment warehouses are in?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's
Because I always thought like you want to have you want to be as close as possible to the consumer.
Yeah.
Then the next question would be, how can you be able to deliver fast in other countries other than where your warehouse is?
It's depending per client. So if you have a limited number of SKUs, then it's possible to put in every location a couple of SKUs. But if you, for example, fashion, for fashion, you have so many sizes, so many articles, then maybe you have a couple of thousand SKUs, and then it's not very easy to put them in all the separate warehouses. So. But they want to have the same services. So what we are doing is driving with full trailers, for example, to Germany, out of one of the locations in the Netherlands. But yeah, we can also put it in a German location, and then we are more close to the consumer. What we implemented a couple of weeks ago is that it's already possible to receive the returns in a local hub. So when we receive the return in the local hub, for example in Germany, at that moment we flag it and we give the information to the web shop so that they can already start up the refunding, for example.
That's great.
So that the consumer don't have to wait too long.
And some marketplaces also require that you have a local return address, right? I think if you look at some of the fashion marketplaces, you have to return it in Germany, like Otto, About You. They need to have the location in Germany to send your products back to. So that's another one. I think customer care is also an essential one because the logistics people or logistics system, a consumer wants to have a contact person or someone to contact with. Where's my order? Why is it too late? Or why is it?
You need a German telephone number.
You need a German telephone number, or tools that can that can chat and all those kind of things. Also, in this time and era, there's some automation in there that you can do automatic translation. Luckily, that you don't have to have someone for every country, and localization of the content and sizes. I mean, that makes it even more complex. I mean, if you go into the US, well, you know the size ranges there. You have to go to triple XL instead of just the XL that we're used to here. So those are things you all have to take into account with, making sure the logistics set up, but making sure that you have the right products in the right place, localizing your assortment there, and localizing your content, not only translation, to the country, but also to the channels.
Exactly, we work with influencers a lot, and of course it's per country. We have some very good running ones in France and in Germany. Makes a difference, totally.
Okay, tell a bit more about these influencer campaigns and how you find them and run it.
We don't try to go for the big ones, the ones with 1 million or 2 million.
So you go for the micro-influencers?
Yes. They have good followers that for instance, vegan, you know, our jeans are vegan also, and there's influencers with 15,000 followers who do a fantastic job for us.
Nice.
You cannot believe it. So there's big interaction.
Is there a piece of software you're using, or is it like just scanning Instagram and just reach out and say, hey, do you want to become our influencer?
Or they reach out to us.
Right.
Funnily, No, we don't have any software for that. No.
You have agencies these days for those.
I know.
But we have very smart young kids. One of the advantages of being a B Corp is that we get massive demands of young people, intrinsically motivated, very smart, that want to work for a company like ours, and that helps us. It's nothing better for a company than have very smart people working for you.
I think that, like influencer campaigns and running them it's for the future. I think it's getting more and more important.
For us, it really works.
Absolutely. So can you tell us about how much percentage of the sales are coming from influencers, or is it a big chunk already?
It's growing. But to be honest, half of our turnover is directly to stores, which is a more difficult part for Active Ants. The other half is our own web shop. The marketplaces are too small to mention. And influencers out of our own web shop, I don't know, maybe 10-20%, but that's growing fast. We see there a lot of results. And we decided to pay more attention, to put more money into that, more hours and more people.
So you need Snoop Dogg wearing your jeans and then...
I don't think we should... No, that's actually interesting that you say that.
Okay.
I don't believe in that campaign.
Okay.
Because I think it's very women unfriendly. So that couldn't work for us.
What is women unfriendly?
The Snoop Dogg campaign. I don't know if you've seen it. It's
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Well, have a look.
That's the first guy I came over with.
There's this other small jeans company from Holland who has this campaign with them running.
Right.
It works well. But it wouldn't be my taste, so
No,
I don't go for it. No, for us, it's people that really talk about the quality, about the fit, about how they tell the story. That I think is more important. And that they say, you can even send back these jeans. They're made of 40% recycled cotton. They tell the story of the farmer in India, or those kind of things.
And how many countries you're selling right now?
2 stores to about 300 retailers now in 30 countries, and online. Yeah, we try to prevent selling to America, so we make the cost very high.
Yeah.
So we concentrate on Europe.
Yeah. Because logistics-wise, I was looking I think ChannelEngine also connects 3PLs like Active Ants. I was just wondering how you guys do that, to distribute all over the world, or even.
We don't. We try to prevent it, but we do have now.
You centralize it.
Yeah. Because again, I don't believe in shipping back and forth rubbish over the ocean. So we want our old jeans back. If that comes from somewhere very far away.
So you're not using many different 3PLs?
No.
Do you use return to store, actually? Because
yes, you can deliver. So we ask our stores, and that's a demand more than I cannot really tell them to do so. But the stores that work with our jeans, we ask them to take back all jeans and give discount. But that's on their account. But on the other hand, we have essentials. We have a never out of stock system. So retailers from us can buy a little bit. We always tell them, don't buy too much. If it works well, you can reorder, and the next day Active Ants delivers to your store. So we have a very nice solution for retail. You will never find a pair of mud jeans in sales because there's no overstock. There's just enough produced. It even goes further. We have the stock material in our factory in Valencia, in Ustex, in Tunisia. And they only produce when there's demand. So we only fulfill demand of the market.
That's great.
That's
great.
Because I heard a lot of brands, and that's maybe interesting one, that a lot of brands that have these difficult sizes, or let's say that the fit really has to be there, right? In lingerie, or if it's in...
Oh, absolutely,
That they really push to get the people back to the store to get the right fitting in the stores. And the people in the stores also had the goal to upsell, right? They were trained to upsell in the stores to get them out the door with 2 jeans.
Absolutely, very
instead
important.
of 1.
Well, that's not our aim, but it's very important that you train people in the stores well. For instance, now we are for the first time in Bijenkorf. And I went there myself and I asked somebody, do you know mud jeans? And the girl says, no, never heard of. And it's there, it's 3 minutes. So my task is to go to the stores, to get the teams together, to tell my story, and hopefully get them enthusiastic about this brand.
Great.
Trying to do everything.
Yeah. If there are any questions, guys, out of the audience, please raise your hand or use the chat if you're watching online. Then you can ask questions to the experts here at the table. In the meanwhile, talking a bit about TikTok, maybe, guys, because I think this is big time coming up. I think it will be way more important for e-commerce as well. You already are on TikTok and doing campaigns yet?
On TikTok, no.
No, but you're looking into it.
My cousin is, and she's big on TikTok.
Right.
So she's teaching me. She's 14.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm an old guy, and this is really hard for me to comprehend and to get into. But our team is going to follow up, and yes, of course, that's a channel we are going to use, definitely.
Yeah. And then there will
don't ask me too many questions about this.
No. But there will be then a kind of direct integration for TikTok that you can take the sales on the platform itself and then fulfilled by.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, we just started. Well, we're in talks with TikTok at the moment. So I think the commerce solution is being tested and piloted in the US and in Southeast Asia. At the moment, we thought it was only US, but they're also going Southeast Asia right away. So we're going to be piloting with it the next couple of quarters to see how it really works, adopts, and how it's going to be incorporated as one of your sales funds, sales channels. And I think it's going to be a really big one because
I think so too.
Who is not on a maybe no. But of the new generation, who's not on TikTok or any of the? We also have Instagram. We have all the other social channels that are out there. That everybody is on one social channel.
The platform is so good that once you install it, you still keep swiping all these nonsense. So I erased it after 2 days because otherwise you're wasting your time.
Everybody goes through it once.
But that's the reason why it's good. Also, you see people selling supplements or any other things. They have an expiry date. There was a question from out of the chat for you, Niels. How do you handle these expiry dates within a marketplace, or do you even have functions for that in ChannelEngine?
Well, I think, yes, I mean, managing, making product selections based on expiry dates is one of the things that we do. So we set up, as we call them, product sets, so we can filter on any attributes that you have within your product catalog. So you can say, if it expires at a certain date, take it offline. I think the bigger challenge is with the logistics side.
Yeah, you need to know
making sure it's conditioned, it's in the right conditions, it's out of the door at the right time, and not selling anything that's over expiry date there, or taking the wrong product from the.
Does Active Ants have functionality for that?
Yeah, we do that every day. So
yeah?
We have many clients with food supplements. I think it's one of the biggest branches that we have, biggest markets that we are servicing. And what we do, we put all the information about the expiry date, batch code, etc. in our systems. So we know exactly what we are sending to the consumer. So if there is a recall campaign, for example, we know exactly, okay, this client has received that product, so that we can inform them and get the products back. We have also systems like yours telling about that let's say 3 or 4 weeks before the expiry date we don't ship it out and we destroy it, or maybe we do something else with it. So it's one of the solutions that we are offering. Yeah, and it's not only for expiry dates, but also, let's say, if you're selling mobile phones, for example, and you want to put the EMI codes, for example, in your system.
Yeah.
So that's all one big IT environment, and our client can choose if they want to use it, yes or no.
Right.
I think it's a combination of working together in this sense, because we can also make sure once the expiry date comes within the next 4 weeks, we make sure it goes into off price, or make sure that it's sold to the consumer.
That's automated in your system.
That's automated in the system, so that we can automate. And we can also make sure that it's filtered out, because it's not only supplements the expiry date, but also, are you allowed to sell this product in a certain country or in a certain region? That's the next difficulty or challenge that a lot of them have. UAE, right? You're not allowed to sell supplements there, or you have to have very strict, or you have to go through all the paperwork, but before you do the paperwork, it's expired. So that takes a long time to get.
Do you help people with that, though? Because at the end of the day, it's not your responsibility, or how do you see that?
Yeah, so it's in our ecosystem. So anything that we've seen a challenge or a limitation, that we look for a partner. That's why our partnership team is so big. I think we're between about 16 to 20 people worldwide that's only working on all kinds of partnerships around the world. And any part of the, let's say, life cycle or e-commerce ecosystem that's needed to be successful on marketplace globally, we have a partner that can have a solution or an advice or in place for that.
But it's also a logistical part. So we are doing, let's say, relabeling products, or we put some additional information in the box, so that the local requirements are strictly followed.
Just relabel the expiry date.
Great idea.
I don't think that we have implemented that. No.
So we were not supposed to talk about that.
No, that's right. Are you even allowed to use the warehouses from FBA, for instance, if you have an expiry date? I'm not sure about that. Do you know that, Niels?
Good question, but I think they do have, for certain products you are allowed to, but I don't know if it's for all products in place. But a good one to. Yeah.
So otherwise you need to recall all your stock and send in new ones with a new expiry date and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know if they recall everything at Amazon, right? So it will go somewhere out the back door.
This was also interesting for us. We don't pack our jeans in plastic. So the warehouse, just folded in the carton. So the warehouse that we work with has to be very clean. Yeah. And one of the demands of Zalando was also that we had to put something around it. So we came up with a sort of paper, no, not plastic, a paperish bag.
Right.
One of the challenges also, but there again, it's important that you have a logistic partner that keeps stuff clean, and which is not always the case.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, that's also the reason why we work with the outstore. So
Yeah.
the bins that we are using,
Very
they're
clean.
just free.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great. Great session, guys. We need to wrap up. Time is over. Let's do
have
some
one
main
demand.
takeaways here. Yeah, there is one demand.
My
here, Brad.
takeaway is that
Go ahead.
I want to take 45 seconds to show my little movie.
Time's
At the
running.
end.
Yeah, that's right.
I have still 2 minutes. So you can go for your takeaways.
Okay, then we go for the main takeaways
Very,
first.
very, very fast for the
Just like
45
life,
minutes.
we have our own
too late.
circle.
But it's
It's not on screen
It's
yet.
not
so
screen.
we'll-
Oh, not on screen.
We'll take a quick
I think think
Just
first
like
before you
life,
act
we
is
have
a
our
very
own.
important one. Before you choose the right platform, of course, but also the right logistical partner.
Right.
Can they grow with you, yes or no?
Yep. Great. Niels?
I mean, make sure your organization is ready for it, right? That's, I think, have the right strategy, channels in place. If you don't have the knowledge internally, well, go to the people in the certain regions that have knowledge about the channel, because it's going to bring you online and to revenue a lot quicker in the right way that fits your brand as well.
Great. Great takeaway. Bert?
Yeah, I totally agree. As a company, for us, we don't have a big IT department, so we need help in that, and we realize that. So companies like Channel Advisor and Ransom, people like that, and also connecting to you wasn't easy in the beginning. All the APIs, your bookkeeping, everything has to be connected, and that's great where you step in and help us out. Yeah.
Nice. Just got a message that the video is not working, Bert. But do you want to do an elevate pitch of 30 seconds? Or?
No, but you can have a look at our YouTube channel. It's
Great.
on there. And we try to, we've asked an artist to explain what we are doing, because it's a difficult story altogether, and it's a boring story, but
Yep.
no, it's not.
No, we will send the link to everyone, and
Please.
with the discount code you're giving us, and then
I will do it.
it's
Yeah.
great.
That's good. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys. Great, thanks for everyone. There were more. You can ask more questions in the chat. There will be Q&A as well. We will send the recordings to you if you want to. Thanks again for all the experts here at the table, and see you next time.